Slavery is back.
Welcome to a place where private business profit from a captive labour force, yet pennies are spent on medical services to a population in which the Indigenous, the poor and the mentally ill are overrepresented. Where isolation, humiliation and degradation are facts of life. Welcome to prison.
It depends who's telling the story, I suppose. The prisoners would have one view, the people who work in the prison system would have another, and I think it's up to people to decide where the truth is.
Give government propaganda and the media spin doctors the flick. And check out Doin Time for news, views and tunes on prison issues from Guantanamo Bay to Christmas Island to prisons and detention centres everywhere. Every Monday at 4 p.m. on your community radio 3CR.
We are still fired up and we're still talking about revolution.
Hello and welcome to the Doin Time show. This is 3CR Community Radio, 855 AM on the dial, streaming live on www.3cr.org.au. And a warning that today's show contains audio images and discussion of Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people who have died. This special Doin Time broadcast is for a very special person, Uncle Ray Jackson, who died in 2015. And we're going to be having a special memorial broadcast, which is an annual tribute to Uncle Ray Jackson, a Wiradjuri warrior for human rights, who was one of Australia's most vocal and knowledgeable deaths in custody campaigners. He was born on the 27th of March 1941 and died the 23rd of April 2015. A fighter for Koori Justice, or FKJ, as he always signed his weekly emails, Ray Jackson spent nearly 30 years holding our police, prison and court systems to account every time a blackfella died in custody. He dedicated his life to fighting for justice and human rights for Aboriginal people affected by the so-called criminal justice system and all people affected by state violence. To the end of his life, Uncle remained a tireless fighter for Australian and other First Nations people and an uncompromising internationalist. And we have two tributes today, and the first one is going to be Dr. Marisa Giannacopoulos, Associate Professor and Director of the Centre for Criminology Law and Justice in the Faculty of Law and Justice at New South Wales, Sydney. She's a leading scholar in decolonizing approaches to law and criminology, and in 2020, Maria was a recipient of the Vice-Chancellor's Award for Excellence in Teaching and Working to Decolonise the Discipline of Criminology. And my apologies, my Braille device froze just for a second. And it happens every year, every time I do this memorial, actually. There's always that device that's just freezing. Not sure what's going on there. And then after that, we'll be speaking with Carolyn Jackson, who is the daughter of Ray, and we'll speak with her about his lifelong work. So I'm hoping that Maria will be able to give us a little bit of a history of some of his work. We've discussed a few campaigns that she'll talk about, and there are some connections with Ray's work and also the work of Maria. So we'll be organising to do this interview very, very shortly. Hello, Maria. Welcome to the program.
Hello, Marisa. It's lovely to be back on your show.
Absolutely, because last time I think we interviewed you because you were a contributor of a book.
Yes, it was the Deathscapes book that actually Uncle Ray Jackson inspired the whole Deathscapes project. So it's very fitting that this is the sort of the second appearance on your show to honour Uncle Ray Jackson and his incredible work.
Absolutely, Maria. So let's start off with you telling us about that.
Yes, so I would like to first say that I'm coming to you today from the land of the Bedigal people, and to say that I'm a child of migrants born on Gadigal land, and I'm indebted to to the people whose lands I get to walk on and study on and work on, and it's given me and my family an opportunity for new life and new futures. So I think that's always an important place to start. So
Yes.
I guess I came to know about Uncle Ray Jackson through my university teacher and then became PhD supervisor, someone you know very well, Marisa, Professor Joseph Pugliese. So Joseph,
could you be able to speak a little bit more into the phone? The
yes,
reception is just a bit strange. Yep.
Is
Go
that
on.
better?
That's much better. Thank you, Maria. Go
Okay.
on. So tell us.
Yeah, I've
Yep.
come to know about Uncle Ray Jackson's work through Joseph Pugliese, who for many years taught using Uncle Ray Jackson's work, in particular on the question of deaths in custody, which Uncle Ray Jackson was a long-time campaigner and pioneer actually in holding the state to account, holding the police, prisons, court systems, as you said earlier, to account for the way in which these systems were responsible for bringing about deaths of Aboriginal people. And so it's also interesting that you mentioned the teaching award I received for decolonizing criminology, because one of the ways in which I taught decolonizing approaches was to really focus on the question of death in custody and to say that the law and the so-called criminal justice system is not really a justice system because of the way that it treats people, in particular Aboriginal people, refugees and other marginalised people. So I often taught with the work of Ray Jackson and inspired by his campaign to reveal that violence that sits at the heart of colonial law. I guess I want to say something about one of the campaigns that I'm very familiar with that Uncle Ray Jackson was involved with, and that was the handing of or the giving Aboriginal passports to refugees, people who were in detention for many years because the state would not allow the entry of refugees and asylum seekers into this country. And Uncle Ray Jackson was a visionary in this regard because he understood that the same way that Aboriginal people were treated as and turned into criminal people are supposedly on their own lands and turned into almost asylum seekers on their own land through dispossession. This was the same violent state that was harming refugees and asylum seekers. So he would smuggle in Aboriginal passports and give them to people who were seeking asylum as a way of showing solidarity, support and love, and in recognition for the violence of the Australian or colonial state. I'm very inspired by that, and it really continues to influence the work that I do and the way in which I also try to connect some of the dots in the way that Uncle Ray Jackson inspired many of us to do.
Absolutely, and that's really important, isn't it? I believe you were talking at the beginning that you were working with Joseph Pugliese, and he's also a regular contributor on the show for Ray too.
Yes, so I mean, I guess this is the kind of the way in which we come to know each other. So Joseph was my very first lecturer at the University of Wollongong back in the day, and he then became my PhD supervisor. So I'm very indebted to him in the way that he would say that he's very indebted to Uncle Ray Jackson for teaching him so much about the violence of the state and the way in which people like Uncle Ray have resisted those systems doggedly and persistently to make so many victories to support Indigenous peoples. And I think you might know that Joseph was the one who was able to nominate Uncle Ray Jackson for a French Human Rights Award, which he received. And that award was an award that people like Nelson Mandela have received in the past. And Joseph made that nomination because in the Australian state, in the Australian colony, let's say, there had been no recognition of the important work in service of social justice that had been performed by Uncle Ray Jackson. And so winning that French Human Rights Award was really, really special. And Uncle Ray Jackson, Joseph tells me, could not believe that had occurred and that he had won that prize. And he understood that prize as giving him one more hammer to break down the many doors of injustice. And so that's a really powerful and happy moment to have had his work, his life's work, recognised.
Yeah, I remember interviewing Uncle Ray about that some years ago now, and he was really flabbergasted on it. He was shocked. I mean, Australia has never given him an award.
Well, that's right, and that's why I think Joseph felt that it was so significant to have his work come to light. And he won an award. He won, a money prize, which he immediately put back into the campaigns that he had been working on in relation to the Indigenous Social Justice Association, and really persistently on the question of Aboriginal deaths in custody.
Yeah, look, Ray was an encyclopedia of information when it came to autopsies with deaths in custody, very precise, and he knew exactly about those findings and would talk about them at length on the show, and would actually accompany families when they were going to major events to do or to hold the police to account.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, he, as you know very well, he was the person who was responsible for having the legislation changed so that families or representatives of the families of people who had been killed by the state could actually be in attendance at the autopsies so that they could look over what was happening to their family member. And this was quite significant because, in those moments, in moments of autopsy where the law comes to take control of the body, so here we see the body is controlled in life and brought to death and then even controlled in death. This was a way to say that you don't get to have ultimate control over our bodies, over our people, and we need to be present. And that interjection into the way that the justice system would have to operate was really, really significant and remains significant. So I think that's a towering achievement of his.
Maria, could you tell us about the Deathscapes website?
Yeah, so the Deathscapes website is now in permanent archived form, but it was a project that was inspired, as I said, by Uncle Ray Jackson, and it was and the project investigators, or chief investigators as they're called in academic land, Sivendriti Pereira and Joseph Pugliese. And they say in the start of the book that I spoke to you about last time that the Deathscapes project takes root from the work of Uncle Ray Jackson, Wiradjuri activist, intellectual and long-time campaigner to hold the state to account. And so they were inspired by Uncle Ray because of the way in which he did draw the dots between marginalised communities and really centred the colonial state as the author of violence against many different types of populations. But in the Deathscapes project, there was a particular emphasis on the way that Indigenous people were incarcerated and refugees were incarcerated. And the project was a transnational one, and it mapped that across various lands, various countries where colonial logics and systems were and are in place. And I think that, and as we speak, Joseph and Savendi are overseas giving further talks on this project. Even though it has formally come to a close, there are ways in which this project will remain active because it speaks to the way in which settler colonial states are agents of death. I mean, this could not be brought out any more clearly than what is happening currently in Palestine. And I think that the project is trying to capture the way that where colonialism goes, violence follows, and that violence is experienced on the bodies of the people whose land is dispossessed and attempted to be taken.
Absolutely. And in fact, the Doin Time show did an off-site recording in Sydney for the Deathscapes launch, which I believe was before the pandemic. I think around 2019, wasn't it, Maria?
It was actually, yes, it was.
So it's, and I think what was quite significant for me at that particular launch, and we do this quite a lot on our show as well, is that there was an honour roll that the names of the people that had died in custody, a lot of them were called out.
Yes.
And that is very powerful, isn't it?
It's incredibly powerful because it's a way of bringing back into visibility the bodies, the people, the names, the stories, the histories, the families, the connections of the people that the state or different states, colonial states, have tried to erase. And that's why the project had such support from communities, from scholars, from students. I mean, every time I taught using that website, students would astound me with the kinds of presentations that they would come up with, because they got to actually read through the site the way in which families were responding and understanding the justice system. So the way that a legal system or an institution of the police would talk about itself, or the way we might read about it in the textbook, is completely different to understanding those same systems from the point of view of the people who it targets most violently. So for students to have that perspective through the Deathscape site was really quite profound in what students could come to understand. So the project had massive support from lots of different places because it was returning to visibility the stories and also the stories of the people, also analysing quite meticulously the way that power works across different sites to produce its violence. So we need to understand those dynamics in order to resist them in the way that Uncle Ray Jackson really did. And I know that he was a socialist, and he understood that, the way in which the state administers death for those that it's dispossessed is connected to broader struggles of workers, of other people. So that kind of really expansive approach to justice is something that is so necessary for processes of decolonisation, for example.
I wonder though, so this very important resource, it's archived, so it can no longer be used?
I know it's available. So the website is no longer active because, as you know, it takes a lot of resources to keep a website. But it has been permanently archived. I don't want to mislead anyone, but you can still find the website in its archived form. So all of the material is still accessible, and that's the really important point.
It is. No, you're not misleading, but it's so sad that, that it couldn't have been, that other deaths in custody, for example, couldn't have been added onto it, or that it couldn't continue.
Yeah, I know. It's but as I said, the book exists, and the work is ongoing. So the people who have been involved in the Deathscapes project are kind of carrying on the work of Deathscapes in other guises, and that I think is the really crucial thing, because Deathscapes is both a project, but it's a way of thinking and a way of doing as well. And so I guess we can think of it that way, that it's about drawing the dots. It's about understanding the connections between the treatment of different groups, about seeing and understanding that in totality so that we can fight it.
Absolutely, Maria, and that's what it's all about. It's approximately 4:20, and you're listening to an interview with Maria Giannacopoulos, who is the Associate Professor and Director of the Centre for Criminology Law and Justice in the Faculty of Law and Justice at New South Wales, Sydney. And we are broadcasting on the land of the Kulin Nations, where sovereignty was never ceded. Maria, it's really wonderful that you've been able to come onto the show. I mean, basically our show every year, it's organic, so I never know who is going to be interviewed. And I mean, last year we actually had some union people who were friends of Uncle Ray's, who talked about his history in the union. So that was really, really amazing as well.
That is amazing.
So I suppose I just wanted to, if you're okay, to extend a little bit, Maria. Yeah, I wanted to actually ask you just a little bit about decolonisation. Can you tell listeners a little bit about how that works? I mean, I know that you'd need to do like a course in a way.
Yes, that's right.
But even, how that pertains to genocide, because I know Ray fought genocide and how that you actually can fit that into deaths in custody.
Yeah, I think that it's, Marisa, I think that is the million-dollar question about decolonisation, and it's the one that we have to, as scholars, as, activists have always been doing this, as thinkers, have to turn our attention to decolonisation. And, I always have this quote in mind of Uncle Ray Jackson's, which was something like him saying, decolonisation starts now, and that it starts now when we as a people accept, no longer accept, third class or fourth class status as citizens in our own land. So what I think I get from that is that decolonisation, requires us to understand, if we don't already, because many of us do, that Australia continues to be a colonial society. And so in order to decolonise, we have to have an intention to disrupt the colonial. And where does the colonial live? The colonial lives in all of the systems that Uncle Ray Jackson fought. The police, the prisons, the court, the law. That's where colonialism as a power regime, that's where it lives. And so by resisting and fighting and understanding the colonial logics of those systems and understanding that they have to go, that's where we're doing the work. We're beginning to do the work of decolonisation. But, so here, so I don't know if Uncle Ray identified himself as an abolitionist, but this is certainly a direction that many of us in criminology are moving in, and to say that, there might be a place for some reform of these systems, but really these systems have to be rethought and rebuilt from the ground up. So that's what abolition means. It means they have to go. Or another meaning could be that all of the billions and billions of dollars in resources that are given to policing and other arms of the colonial state, those funds and resources really have to go to people, to communities, so that self-determination can really be a thing. So that would be a crucial dimension of decolonisation. So a redirecting of funds, a decentralising of colonial systems and power. So that's what I would say decolonisation means, like in a very, quick way. And I think that is really where we need to be focused, in terms of national conversations. And sadly, we haven't seen the conversation go there. it's happened in all these other ways. And I haven't said anything about genocide, but I think that what Uncle Ray Jackson was foregrounding in his work on Aboriginal deaths in custody, really the deaths in custody is a form of genocide.
Yeah.
It's a form of, trying to annihilate populations or systems working to annihilate populations. And in my own work, I've called this nomicide because I'm nomos meaning law. I'm saying that these legal systems are actually responsible and agents of death. So genocide or nomicide, these are ongoing in the current day, not just in Palestine, but here. And so that needs to be seen, it needs to be resisted, and we need to build out from that and have a fundamentally changed system if we want to see justice arrive.
Well, let's think about all that and continue to fight for what's needed in our work and remember Uncle Ray before us and have his legacy keeping that alive.
Absolutely, yes.
Any final comments before we finish?
Oh, look, it's just such an honour to be able to be here to speak in honour of Uncle Ray, just a towering figure, an inspiring person, someone who fought, although his own life was marked by such struggle and grief, having been himself removed from his mother when he was a young child. And as Joseph has said before, he really channeled that grief and built something out of that was to bring comfort and love and support and solidarity to other people who were struggling and suffering at the hands of the state. And I think that, he's a person to look up to, he's a person to emulate.
Absolutely, and yes, that's true. He's stolen generation, and he talked quite a lot about that on the show, and in fact was really committed to young people as well. I mean, he was very vocal about TJ Hickey and what happened to him.
Yeah, because that reflects his understanding that, that the experiences of young people mark them and stay with them for a lifetime. So it's really important that young people are not subjected to injustices, or their lives are not cut short, or they don't witness their friends' lives cut short, or they don't get caught into the web of prison. So he understood all of those things, that children are children and they deserve to be treated as such, not as though they are adults that can be treated as adults within a very unjust legal system.
Maria, thank you so much for coming onto the program. It's been lovely to have you, honestly. And
it's great.
Yeah, thanks a lot. And
thank you so much.
Thank you. And it's great that you were able to put everything in context as well.
I'm glad I could do that. It's a pleasure.
All right, well, you take care, and I'm sure we'll be hearing from you again.
Thanks, Marisa. Bye.
Thanks. Bye-bye. And that was Professor Maria Giannacopoulos, who is the Director of the Centre for Criminology, Law and Justice in the Faculty of Law and Justice at Sydney University.
Mayday 2024. No more imperialist wars. Workers' solidarity against colonialism. Australian imperialism is a cornerstone to the exploitation and oppression of the global south. From First Nations lands here to the Congo, from Mapuche lands to Palestine. Join the Black People's Union, Latin American Solidarity Network, Renegade Activists, Australian Asia Worker Links and others in the struggle against Western imperialism. Wednesday, 1st of May, 5 p.m. at the State Library of Victoria. Supported by Community Radio 3CR.
When we start the revolution. When we start the
and in case you've just tuned in, this is the Doin Time show, 3CR Community Radio, and we are doing a special memorial show for Ray Jackson. And next up, we're going to be speaking with Carolyn Jackson, daughter of Ray, and she is also going to be paying tribute to him now. Hello, Carolyn, welcome.
Hi, Marisa, how are you?
Not bad, not bad. It's that time of year again, Carolyn.
It sure is. It's the 9th year now.
The 9th year?
Yeah. 9th year, this the 23rd. So, so it's gone past very, very quickly. Feels like only yesterday.
Yeah, I know. It's and since then, I think there have been a few more grandchildren born.
Yeah, correct. More great-grandchildren. So Dad would have, there's been an extra 4 and also to another 1. So, so all up he's got 2 grandsons and he's got, I think, 6 great-grandchildren with our girls. So... And we educated them a lot about Dad. We always bring his name up and, like if he's still around with us physically, show them videos and things like that and what he's achieved and what he's accomplished and so forth. So, so they know who their great-grandfather was and how proud they would have been of him. Well, they are proud, but for him to be around them now, it would have been great. So,
well, yeah,
what we're feeling around us.
Definitely.
Yeah.
I was just talking to Marisa Giannacopoulos, and you may have heard a bit of her interview while you were on hold, Carolyn.
Mm-hmm.
And she was talking quite a lot about your dad's really massive contributions to Deaths in Custody and also the Deathscape's website. Can you tell us a little bit about that as well, from your perspective?
In reference to the website?
Yeah, and his work.
Oh, yeah, definitely, yeah. I mean, I think he started that, but some of the professors, especially Joseph, I'm trying to not do disjustice to his surname.
Pugliese.
That's
That's okay. He's great, isn't he?
Yes, he's fantastic. So, they actually finished off that website that had started. So that is now being used in universities for criminal law. So, so a massive achievement for that. And which educates those who are studying criminal law, the other side of justice, because you always hear the one side, but there's always another side. So, so that's something that was a great thing that, he had come up with. So, but there's still a lot more deaths in custody and, I think there was not one that we heard not long ago. I think it was a 15-year-old boy that was in custody that was apparently supposed to have committed suicide while he was in custody, which, which is quite sad. So, unfortunately, it's still happening and, so that's something that Dad would have done for the families, which was give them support and, try to find justice too, But, but everything that he's achieved, that he's done, I'm hoping that it's still, people are still relying on that and, remembering that and still carrying on this, the fight. But, but deeply missed.
He really is missed. In fact, even this morning, I was, I don't know, I hit rock bottom. I thought to myself, I'm coming in here to to do another memorial, another First Nations death. And we all know, don't we, Carolyn, that First Nations people and Torres Strait Islander people die much younger than non-Indigenous?
Definitely. Yes, definitely. Yeah, 100%. I mean, you hear so much of it, maybe not on the news, That's, but on non-commercial, there's a lot out there. You just don't hear about it.
No.
So the only time you hear about it is when you've got people that actually stand up and so who are lawyers or people trying to get justice for these families. That's the only time you hear it. You don't hear it on the news. You don't hear it on normal commercial TV. So, that all seems to be, virtually non-existent. Like I said, it's not important. But it is important because this is families and their loved ones, and it's the culture. So
yeah, well, Maria and I were talking about the award, the French award.
That's right, the Human Rights Medal. Yeah,
that's pretty amazing. And yet Australia never gave him an award.
No, that's right. No, it didn't. No, they didn't. It took another country to acknowledge his work to actually give him that award. And they haven't been. He has been acknowledged by the Australian government, and I don't think it will be, to be honest.
No.
But at least someone out there, at least a country like that, at least someone acknowledges his work, and it's not just here. Like, it's outside of Australia, So it's in another country that sees his work, hears about his work and what he's achieved and what he has done. So to actually gave him that kind of acknowledgement, and that's a big award. That is a massive award to receive. But not even for the Australian government to even say, nothing. It was just like he never existed, this award for him.
He worked so hard. I mean, I'll never forget how he would come onto this show once a week, and we'd have him on for at least half an hour. He wasn't a guest. He was on our team, on the Doin Time show, and he'd talk about everything that happened, and he'd speak about all the findings. So, for example, Veronica Baxter or, other deaths in custody. And I don't know if you probably would remember this, how towards the end of his life, the police really harassed your dad when the TJ Hickey march happened.
That's right. Yep. That's right. They did. And, which is, because a lot of these, rallies that they did have, Dad would be the one that would try and make peace with the people that are doing the rallies with the police. You know what I mean? He wanted always a peaceful rally.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So that's what he wanted. Always wanted a peaceful rally, but then you had some that, that just didn't want that, with the law. So, it's all to do with human rights, right? And that's your right to,
mm-hmm.
express, the situation and what's happening in cultures. So, yeah, definitely.
I imagine, though, Carolyn, that some of the stuff that he was doing ended up falling to you, didn't it? I mean, you probably wouldn't have been used to speaking in public, would you, and doing things?
No, definitely not. So the thing is with Dad kept, that was Dad had two loves, and that love was family, and then the other one was, of course, justice and what he represented as well. So, it's hard because now I'm speaking, I'm doing these interviews and stuff like that now. And in the past, with SBS, we had to get, I had to do interviews with them. But it was good because it gave me more of an insight as well, because of what his passion was.
Yeah.
And what he actually succeeded, what he actually achieved,
Exactly.
So, I'm very humbled. And that's why I'm happy to do this every year to remind what a wonderful man he was, and a family man and a loving man and a caring man and an honest and respectful and loyal human being he was.
Very loyal.
And I remember when he passed away, it was the night he passed away, that day he actually, he had pneumonia, and he actually, wanted to check on the tent embassy, wanted to make sure everyone was okay. He would walk down there at 4 o'clock in the morning to make sure everyone was okay.
Wow.
And that there was no one troubling them, no police. doing any harassments or anything like that. And he did his last email, I think, to ISJA at 11 o'clock at night that night.
Yep.
And during that morning, the next morning, he had passed away. So up to the time he passed away, he was still out there fighting and making sure people were okay and checking on those. And even for sending out, emailing off his last letters, emails.
It's incredible, isn't it?
Just goes to show how much he really, really dedicated his life to this cause, and on many causes as well. So I just hope that people will take that on board and remember him for that. So
I hope also that people realise the legacy that Ray Jackson put in, and that was black, white or brindle. It doesn't matter. We all have to be united.
Yeah. That's right, exactly. They'd be horrified to know what's happening now.
Absolutely.
Around, not just here, but in the world.
The world.
Everywhere, especially in Palestine.
Oh, my God. Carolyn, he would be horrified about Palestine.
He would be. He's a massive activist for that. Yeah, so it's absolutely terrible and heartbreaking. So,
he'd be turning over in his grave.
Oh, geez, yeah. 100%. What do you think what this will come into? Yeah, very, very sad.
Because all those atrocities that are happening over there, he'd be writing books on email about this, for sure.
Yeah, that's right, exactly. Exactly, he would be. Yeah, he would be. But we're so proud of what he has, he has educated so many people. I mean, people that were, against what he talked about or what he believed in. He actually made these people and convinced them, yes, you know what, you are right. No one has opened our eyes up to what you have witnessed and what you have seen, So you only hear, you don't see, So, yeah, he's deeply missed, and we love him so much, and we miss him, and I talk to him every single day. And, so...
Would you believe I've still got the phone number to his flat?
Yeah, I know.
I've kept it, even though, and sometimes I actually nearly ring him and pick up the phone to ring him. I think, oh, my God, I can't ring him, he's passed.
No, that's right. You are so right. I mean, yeah, it's right. I mean, I used to try and, like when he passed away, it was really hard not to, even in my phone, in my contact. I mean, my dad's been gone now for 9 years on the 23rd, and I still got his number too on my phone, 93180947.
Yeah.
I can't delete it. I cannot. Every time I get my new phone, I have to keep that number on there.
Yep.
So, yeah.
And of course, before you go, Anzac Day is coming up soon, and he was always committed to honouring the souls of Aboriginal.
That's right. Yes, exactly. Yes, he did, definitely. Yeah, he had so much respect for those who lost their lives. Also with that as well, definitely, 100%. Yeah.
Well,
it's really hard.
It's hard, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a tough week, because it's my niece's birthday, which is coming up as well.
Yeah.
So, and she was the one that actually, she was the one that actually found him. So, her birthday is actually on the 25th, which is on Anzac Day.
How old was she when your niece found him?
I think she was 18.
Oh.
So it's her birthday on Thursday.
Wow.
She found him, a couple of days before her birthday. Her birthday is this Thursday on Anzac Day.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah, she'd remember it like it was yesterday, Carolyn.
Yeah, that's right, exactly. Yeah. So she was actually one that found him. So it's very hard. So her birthday is actually on Thursday too, on Anzac Day as well.
Okay.
So, yes.
Well, we're nearing the end of another show. I do this every year without fail. Doesn't matter where I am.
And you know what? Thank you so much for remembering him. You always remember him, and it's an honour for every time you do this. It's an honour for us or for me to actually, it's a privilege to actually go on there and speak to you, because you have to be one of the most loved people that I've ever known. That was around my dad's circle of people, and no wonder why you were so important to him, and 3CR Radio as well.
Yeah,
So thanks for listening to me, and thank you for listening to Dad all those years.
I loved him very much, and
We know you did.
yeah, I had a bit of a meltdown this morning about it, to be honest.
Yeah,
So,
yeah, it gets hard.
it's hard.
It is hard, especially when we don't want his work not to go in vain. You know what I mean? It's just hard to see. It's still going, and it's just getting worse. You know, and
Yep.
just if he was still around, how much he would change things. You know?
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, for sure.
Carolyn, thank you so much for coming onto the program. It's 4:45.
Yeah, thank you, Marisa. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Nice hearing from you again, and looking forward to you coming up to Sydney, and you can stay with me.
I would love to. You can make me the spaghetti again.
I'll make that for you.
All right. Oh, good on you,
All
Carolyn. Well, you
Thank you,
enjoy your
Marisa.
night as much as you can, and we'll talk soon.
Oh, well, thank you.
Thank you.
Marisa. Thank
Bye,
you.
darling. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye. And that was Carolyn Jackson, who is the daughter of Ray Jackson. And she was paying tribute to her father, who is such a much-loved activist and warrior and family man.
Mayday all night.
Are you a night owl?
I'm not.
Burning the midnight oil?
Working the night shift?
Or just an insomniac?
For one night only. Talk Back with Attitude is taking your calls.
You've got to be kidding.
From 12:30 till 5 a.m. God. 7 a.m. I've just been corrected. That's, of course, if we survive.
From 12:30 a.m. to 7 a.m.
Till we get tired.
May Day, Wednesday, the 1st of May.
We left the others in the fading light, walked up that old road on a warm summer night. You said, let's go high, there's a good chance that soon we'll get to see a rising moon. When we reached the quarry, we could feel the breeze. We stood there a moment, searching the trees. Then suddenly we saw it, that big red glow. I took your hand and you didn't let go. And my whole heart jumped out of my chest. My whole heart jumped right out of my chest. My whole heart jumped out of my chest. My whole heart jumped right out of my chest. Well, the moon changed its color as it rose in the sky. We changed each other under heaven's bright eye. I might live to 100, I might die soon, but I'll never forget that rising moon. 'Cause my whole heart jumped out of my chest. My whole heart jumped right out of my chest. My whole heart jumped out of my chest.
celebrate its 5th birthday, the Common Social Change Library is holding a trivia night at Melbourne Trades Hall on Tuesday the 30th of April from 6 p.m. onwards. From historical activist moments to pop culture, there'll be plenty of trivia fun with great prizes, a silent auction, birthday cake and more. All funds raised will help the library to continue to provide more than 1,000 free resources and case studies for activists and advocates. For more details and to get your tickets, visit commonslibrary.org.
A 3CR supporter.
Councils around the country will put on Disability Day events, and quite a few of them will not include people of colour, First Nations people and Black people. So I think it's pretty cool that everyone you'll hear on air today will be a person of colour, and the majority of them will be people with disabilities as well. I think when we were preparing for this show and for this day, we wanted to talk about how we could explain the concept of power from the margins and why it is that we've chosen to focus on Black people, Indigenous people and people of colour. And I think, in one word, it's intersectionality. It's the fact that people experience forms of oppression, different forms of oppression at the same time. And most people don't realise that you can't have racial justice without disability justice and vice versa.
We need to keep Radical Voices on air. Subscribe now.
Go to 3cr.org.au/subscribe or call the station on 9419 8377.
And you're back with the Doin Time show, and it's approximately 4:53, and we're nearing the end of another memorial show today for Ray Jackson, and this is a special broadcast. And the things that have emerged for me today is it doesn't matter how long it is, you still grieve. I'm still just as upset about what happened and about Ray passing like it happened yesterday, as Carolyn said. And I think we need to keep that legacy alive. And I was thinking about it when I was playing those announcements, and I was thinking I need to renew my resistance to fight, to build the movement to stop Aboriginal deaths in custody. And it's really important that that happens. So thank you so much to Maria and also to Carolyn for being the two extended contributors and paying tribute to Ray today. And each show is different. Last year we actually had Nick and Sergio, who were friends of Ray Jackson in the Union, and they talked a lot about the history of unionism and about how Ray Jackson was a wharfie and how he learnt about history and deaths in custody as well. And we also had Lisa DeLuca last year as well, and Joseph Pugliese. Lisa DeLuca was also a friend and a colleague of Ray Jackson, and she was a lawyer doing work in this campaign. So we need to unite and we need to stay strong. It's approximately 4:55, and we're going to be going out now pretty soon with our theme song, Black Fella, White Fella by the Rumpy Band. And it's goodbye from Marisa. Stay tuned every Monday for the Doin Time show, which happens between 4 and 5 p.m. Thanks so much, everybody. Stay safe.
As long as you are true fella, as long as you are real fella. All the people of different races with different lives in different places. It doesn't matter what you Are you the one who's gonna stand up and be counted? Are you the one who's gonna be there when we shout it? Are you the one who's always ready with a helping hand? Are you the one who understands this family plan? Black fella, white fella, yellow fella, any fella, it doesn't matter what you color, as long as you a true fella. All the people of different races, with different lives, in different places, it doesn't matter which religions, it's all the same where the ship is sinking. We need more brothers if we're to make it. We need more sisters if we're to save it. Are you the one who's gonna stand up and be counted? Are you the one who's gonna be there when we shout it? Are you the one who's always ready with a helping hand? Are you the one who understands this family plan? Stand up and be counted. Stand up and be counted. Are you the